The drama begins with a scene that feels straight out of a movie. Ding Xian arrives for her first day at university carrying her suitcase and, without thinking much about it, tries to enter the boys' dormitory. The person in charge stops her cold and tells her that building is for boys only. Ding insists, swears that it's just for a moment, and when she sees they are not going to let her in, she stands outside and starts shouting a name at the top of her lungs. Within seconds, it turns into a whole spectacle. Students staring, phones recording, and a video spreading like wildfire. That same video reaches Zhou Xiue, the other protagonist. The moment he sees it, he rushes out. When they finally come face to face, Ding freezes, as if time had folded in on itself and suddenly they were the same people they used to be. Zhou does not make a scene. He grabs her by the arm, pulls her out of that chaos, and takes her to a quieter corner. And there Ding, with her heart in her throat, blurts out what she has been holding in for far too long. That she likes him, that she never forgot him, that he has always been on her mind even though life took them down different paths. Zhou listens to her, but his response is cold. He makes it clear that whatever they had ended years ago, that now each of them has their own life, and that he does not want a relationship. He gets up to leave, as if that conversation were just an uncomfortable formality, but Ding stops him. She reminds him of the promise they made to get to that university together and asks him, directly, if he ever truly liked her. Zhou does not answer. He turns around and walks toward the dormitory, with that way of escaping without arguing. Ding follows him, catches up to him, and before he goes inside, pulls a robot out of her bag. It is not just any gift. It is a memory with weight. Zhou takes it, carries it away in silence, and disappears. Ding, the moment she sees him leave, falls apart. She stays there, crying as if all the effort she made to reach that place had suddenly come crashing down on her all at once. Already in his room, Zhou looks at the robot calmly. He opens it, finds a hidden note, and with that, the door to the past swings wide open. The story goes back to 2009, when Ding Xian moves with her family to a new neighborhood. Ding's father got a job thanks to a friend who lived nearby, and that is why the family goes to visit him. In that house appears Zhou Xiue, together with two inseparable friends, Song Ziki and Jiang Chen. They all have lunch together, like families who have known each other for years, and the adults start talking as if time had never passed. In the middle of the conversation, the mothers remember that Ding and Zhou used to play together as children, that now they go to the same school, and that without noticing it, they are already growing up. Then the subject comes up that sounds like a joke, but is not quite one. When they were little, the adults had talked about an engagement between them, something typical of an old joke that older people sometimes say as if it were fate. Zhou, with a serious face, lets out that if that engagement has to be broken, he will do whatever he has to do. Everyone stares at him, and he finishes it off with a laugh saying he was joking, but the comment leaves a strange feeling at the table. Shortly afterward, Ding walks down the hall looking for paper for her little brother and ends up near Zhou's room. By accident, she overhears Song Ziki and Jiang Chen making fun of her because when she arrived she bumped her head and got a lump. They call her Little Monster, and say silly things about how his fiancée has horns. Ding goes completely still. When they realize she is outside, they push Zhou to fix it. Zhou comes out, gives her the paper, and tells her not to take it seriously, that his friends only tease for the sake of teasing. Ding, out of pride, says she wants to break that childish engagement. Zhou answers that it is fine. But Ding contradicts herself. First she blurts it out and then leaves as if she had lost control of the conversation. The next day, Zhou goes with Song Ziki to the doctor because of a leg injury. Ding appears at the pharmacy looking for medicine for her bump, but she does not have enough money. Zhou steps in, pays without making a fuss, and takes her to eat at a simple place. He buys her a pastry and tells her it is for the horn, because the swelling looks like a little horn. Ding gets angry, leaves the money on the table, and walks away with her dignity bruised, swearing to herself that that boy is unbearable. At school, Ding gets off to a bad start. Her little brother hides her name tag and she arrives late. On the way she runs into Zhou, who also happens to be late that day. Ding covers her face and speeds up, as if the embarrassment were written across her forehead. In class, because there are not enough seats, Zhou ends up sitting beside her. Ding gets irritated, but Zhou points out that there is no other space. To make matters worse, Ding's father works at the same school, so she lives with that constant fear that everyone is watching her. When the teacher announces that whoever does not have their name tag must go back home, Ding sinks because she did not bring it. Later, at lunchtime, Zhou's group invites everyone to eat, but Ding steps aside when she sees her dad nearby. She ends up eating alone, and that is when Su Bokong appears, a boy from the same town as her whom she has known since childhood. He talks to her naturally, as if that huge school were not intimidating at all, and tells her that if she wants to survive school life, it would be best for her to start making friends, little by little. In class, Ding puts all her effort into taking notes as if it were a competition, and Zhou tells her that in math you do not write that much, that it is enough to understand the formula. Ding, tired, answers that he cannot judge her. He does better than anyone. That is when a girl named Jiayu approaches her and explains that Ding still does not understand something important. Zhou Xiue is the top student in the class. His low scores happened because he was busy with a robotics competition and did not take the exam seriously. Ding feels tiny hearing that, especially when she sees Jiayu sit with Zhou to understand a topic, as if she had already taken that place. Ding feels out of place. Su Bokong notices and takes her up to the rooftop, telling her it is a quiet place. There she admits that it is hard for her to fit in, that she feels like everyone knows each other except her. Su Bokong speaks to her like a real friend. He reminds her that people do not become family in a day, that with time everything settles into place, and that she should not lose hope just because she feels alone for 1 week. When she returns to the classroom, Ding decides to change seats so she will not have to see Jiayu stuck to Zhou. She tries to do it without drama, but Zhou stops her, and when she refuses to stay, he tells her that if she leaves, she might as well not come back. Ding changes seats anyway, stubborn as ever. That night she gets home and finds her little brother burning her diary. She explodes, argues with her mother, and feels that everything is demanded of her while the boy gets forgiven for everything. Her father steps in and returns the hidden name tag, calming the disaster a little. Meanwhile, Zhou's mother makes pastries and asks him to take them to Ding. Zhou agrees, but Ding rejects them when she sees them. And to make the atmosphere worse, Gu Xing appears, an irritable classmate who is always buried in books, who scolds Ding over any little noise. Ding endures it because she does not want to draw attention, but inside she feels smaller and smaller. In those first months, Ding also discovers that the classroom has its own strange politics. Gu Xing is not only difficult just for the sake of being difficult. He lives in competition with Zhou, because Zhou usually comes out on top in exams even though he looks like he does not put in much effort. Gu Xing gets frustrated, becomes more rigid, and every noise feels like a personal offense to him. Ding, as the new girl, becomes an easy target. If she sharpens a pencil, if she moves a chair, if she asks something quietly, he turns around with a bad look on his face. Ding finds it hard to defend herself, because she still does not feel like part of the group and does not want people pointing at her. That is why, when Teacher's Day arrives, Ding is surprised to find a new diary in her father's office. He had bought it for her to replace the one that burned. Ding understands that, even though they argue, her father takes care of her in his own way. She brings him a little gift and he softens toward her, because he knows his daughter is going through a major change. At the same time, the teacher appoints Jiayu as the temporary class leader one day when the regular one is absent. Jiayu takes it far too seriously. She writes down the names of anyone who talks. Ding whispers to ask for a note and ends up punished. Zhou, seeing that Ding would be singled out alone, deliberately adds the names of other classmates, including Song Ziki, to spread the blow around. The teacher comes back, scolds half the classroom, and makes several students stay after class. Ding does not understand it in the moment, but that gesture stays with her. Zhou may be blunt, but he does not like seeing her crushed. At home, Ding's father tries to help her with something more practical. He brings her snacks and tells her to share them, that friendship is built with small steps, not miracles. Ding is not convinced, but the next day she arrives with chocolates and hands them out. She even gives one to Zhou. Jiayu tries to stop it, saying she will get him something better, but Zhou eats it anyway. Ding feels good, because for the first time, he accepts something that comes from her without making fun of it. As time passes, Ding also starts swallowing her own nerves. During a break, she sees a beginner player trapped by a monster inside a game, and even though Ding is not an expert either, she jumps in to help from a friend's phone. She ends up saving him, and that little victory gives her confidence. Not everything in her life has to come out perfectly for it to matter. The end-of-year holidays are getting close and Ding prepares cards for her classmates. Kong Shadi tells her that Zhou is not a fan of celebrations, so Ding hesitates to give him one. But Zhou notices the absence and, with his usual pride, tells her that if she made one for everyone, she can give one to him too. Ding gathers the courage and hands it to him outside the classroom, because the teacher punishes them for talking. Zhou mocks it by saying it is badly made. Ding gets annoyed and tries to take it back, and he ends up admitting it was a joke. It is a simple scene, but there you can see that Zhou likes provoking her just to watch her react. Then New Year comes. Ding stays up studying until she falls asleep, and her father chooses not to wake her. Zhou goes out with the group to watch fireworks, but inside he feels dull without Ding. Song Ziki notices and teases him, saying he misses the little monster. Zhou makes excuses, as always, and that is why the friends end up going to Ding's house to get her. They almost drag her out, get stuck in traffic, and to avoid missing the show, Zhou leads them running to a bridge. At midnight, they hold hands and shout Happy New Year. Ding feels Zhou's heartbeat in his hand and, that night, writes in her diary that she hopes those kinds of promises stay. Of course, not everything is sweet. Ding gets sick for a few days and Zhou shows up with the notes from the day and her report card. Her grades are still low. Ding gets discouraged, and Zhou leaves his number written on a piece of paper in case she needs anything when she goes to her hometown for a festival. When the date arrives, she travels, works on decorations with Su Bokong, and while he teases her by hinting that she likes Zhou, Ding denies it far too strongly, which only makes Su Bokong laugh even more. Back in her hometown, Ding spends an entire afternoon thinking about whether to call Zhou first to congratulate him. In the end, he calls first. They talk only a little, wish each other a good festival, and he casually tells her that next semester they will still be desk mates. On top of that, she finds out that day is also her birthday and Zhou, instead of giving her the usual expensive gift, takes her to the planetarium so she can see the sky as if it were a scene made just for her. Ding is genuinely moved there, because it is not a gesture of courtesy, it is someone who paid attention. When classes start again, Ding gets caught up in a strange problem because of Kiki. Kiki leaves a letter for Zhou and Ding, not knowing how to say no, keeps it. Kong Shadi gets angry because she can see the disaster coming. If Ding keeps being a messenger, girls are going to swarm around Zhou and Ding will be used. Ding defends herself by saying she does not like Zhou, but the way she says it sounds more like panic than certainty. They argue a little, but in the end they understand each other and become friends again, because both of them are intense, but they care about each other. The mess explodes when Zhou receives a letter and thinks it is from Ding, because he recognizes the handwriting. He gets his hopes up, brings her a gift, and right then Kiki arrives with chocolates and puts them in his desk as part of the same confusion. Kong Shadi, with no filter, reveals the truth. The letter was not from Ding. Zhou gets furious, not so much with Kiki, but with Ding for not putting a stop to it earlier. He pulls her into the hallway and tells her that he hates that little game of passing notes, and Ding ends up crying because, once again, she did not know how to stand her ground. Zhou's birthday arrives. He invites everyone and waits for Ding. Ding stays painting, sees the invitation late, and runs, but arrives when the party is already over. Hurt, Zhou asks her whether she is apologizing for arriving late or for the mess with the letter. Ding says for both things. Zhou, despite his pride, saves a piece of cake for her and lights a candle as if they were celebrating alone. Ding gives him a handmade painting and Zhou keeps it as if it were something serious. He also offers her a phone, but Ding turns it down because it is too expensive. Zhou says he won it at an event and that he does not want to be out of contact with her. Ding ends up accepting, because she understands the message behind the object. That phone changes everything. Ding starts texting with Zhou, going to school with him, sharing simple things without so much awkwardness. And when the big decision comes about choosing science or arts, Ding stands firm. She wants science, even though her mother opposes it. The condition becomes heavy. She has to get 270 points on a monthly exam. Ding studies herself to pieces, Zhou coaches her with practice exams, and even her mother, though cold, brings her milk at night. Ding notices that yes, her mother pressures her, but she also worries about her. That mixture confuses her and strengthens her at the same time. Then a dark stage arrives. Ding's phone is stolen, she runs after the thief, and ends up in a dangerous area. Zhou, Song Ziki, and Jiang Chen appear to help her. Zhou breaks the rules, leaves a training camp, and gets punished for it, but does not tell Ding so that she will not lose focus. That sacrifice, though silent, marks a before and after. After that scare, Ding understands that her school life is no longer just homework and gossip. Because he helped her, Zhou loses points with the school and even with his own body. They make him run laps as punishment, he ends up exhausted, and even so, he tries to act normal. Ding feels that something is off, but he keeps it from her so she will not get distracted during the most important month. That same exhaustion ends up knocking him down. One day he misses class and Ding, worried, goes to his house. There she finds him with a fever, just waking up, and decides to take care of him without making a fuss. She cooks him some simple porridge and gives it to him as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Zhou, half weak, thanks her and, for the first time, lets a tiny emotion show. It is obvious that with her, he lets his guard down. While Ding is wearing herself out studying for the monthly exam, her world at home also becomes tense. Her mother grows stricter and stricter, and Ding, as an outlet, writes in her diary what she does not dare say out loud. The fear of failing, the exhaustion, and the affection that is beginning to grow in her for Zhou. The problem is that her mother finds it by accident, reads it, and explodes. Ding feels invaded, they have a huge argument, and in a moment of rage, Ding ends up throwing the diary away. Later she regrets it and goes out to look for it desperately, with Zhou helping her in the street as if it were a mission. They do not find it, and that leaves Ding with a feeling that she has lost a part of herself. To cheer her up, Zhou shows her a robot that he built himself, one that can even move and dance a little. Ding laughs, and that 1 minute of laughter saves her day. Even with the chaos, Ding does not give up. She enters a painting contest because it is what she likes most, even though her mother says that is only a hobby. Zhou, as if it were nothing, fills out the form for her and has his friends cover the situation at home so Ding can go. Ding competes, paints with everything she has, and when she wins first place, she feels that finally something goes right for her without asking permission. That victory also strengthens the group. Jiang Chen decides to pursue his dream of joining the army, Song Ziki supports him, and Zhou even talks with Jiang Chen's father so he understands that his son is not doing it on a whim. Time passes and summer camp arrives. Ding goes, has fun, dances with the group, and feels like part of something. Su Bokong shows up there and Zhou gets jealous again, but this time he hides it even worse. At that camp, Ding loses her diary, and Zhou creates a private blog so she can write without anyone invading her thoughts. When Ding realizes it, she understands that Zhou does not just listen to her. He protects her in the details. Later on, when Ding's mother has to travel because of a grandmother's health, Ding stays for a few days under Zhou's mother's care. There they live together in a more familiar way. They go shopping, look at childhood pictures, laugh at Zhou's embarrassing moments, and Ding imagines, without admitting it, what a life like that every day would be like. But the big pressure arrives with the entrance exam. Ding prepares like never before, but her nerves betray her and her score is not enough to get into Huaqing. She breaks down. Her friends comfort her, Zhou does too, and even so Ding makes a difficult decision. She will repeat a year. Zhou gets into university, Ding stays behind, and that distance opens up a crack. Zhou believes that distancing himself protects her. Ding believes she was abandoned. That misunderstanding grows in silence, like a snowball. Zhou gets into Huaqing, but his reality is no celebration. His father falls ill and money problems appear. On top of that, a heavy rumor comes out. Zhou's father is accused of leaking an exam. Zhou feels trapped. He cannot even save his home and believes he cannot protect Ding either. That is why he cuts off contact, changes his number, and shuts himself away in his own silence. Ding, on the other side, interprets it as abandonment. A year later, Ding manages to get into Huaqing and we return to the beginning. She shouts outside the dormitory, looks for him, finds him, confesses her feelings, and he acts cold. The story reveals that Zhou is not indifferent. He is scared and exhausted. The robot that Ding gives back to him, with the password to a blog she wrote, ends up breaking him inside. He cries alone, because in that blog is Ding exactly as she is. Sincere, intense, stubborn, and in love without a mask. At university a new rival appears, Dong Cheng, who envies Zhou and uses the scandal around his father to attack him. Lu Fei also appears, a girl who clings to Zhou without understanding his limits, and Ding sees them together and breaks all over again. Ding joins clubs, makes new friends, sings at a party, and Zhou hears her while working part-time as a waiter. There, for the first time, he admits part of his life to her. The hospital, the money, the weight of family. But even so, he insists on pushing her away, telling her to live her life, meet people, and not wait for him. Ding does not buy that excuse. She tells him that a new life does not erase what came before, and that she did not confuse affection with a whim, that she truly loves him. Zhou hides once again behind the word friendship, but his actions contradict him. When someone secretly takes photos of Ding and uploads them to the internet, Zhou finds the guy, takes the camera away, and gives Ding a personal defense alarm made by him, as if he were saying without words, he is not going to stand by and watch. The tension grows because Su Bokong appears again, now involved in the creative world, and offers Ding opportunities with her comic. Ding appreciates it, but Zhou is dying of jealousy. During a dinner, Su Bokong admits that he likes Ding, and Zhou burns up inside. Ding overhears part of the conversation and gets furious, because she feels that Zhou decides things for her without saying anything clearly. She yells at him that she is tired of chasing after him, that he always wants her to be there, but never commits. Zhou is shaken. He can no longer keep up that act. Song Ziki and Kong Shadi's story also explodes. Song disappears because of family problems. She looks for him, confronts him, shakes him up, and in the end they reconcile, learning that running away only makes the damage bigger. That lesson hits Zhou like a stone. On top of that, Zhou's father from the hospital opens his eyes. He tells him that Ding worked too hard for him, that he should not let her slip away, that whoever takes a good person for granted ends up losing them. Zhou decides to confess. On a trip with friends, he finally speaks without beating around the bush. He admits that he distanced himself because he did not feel capable, that he was afraid of dragging her into a hard life, that he believed this way she would choose something better. Ding listens to him and tells him that he does not understand love if he thinks loving means disappearing. She does not want a perfect path. She wants to be with him on the real path, whatever it may be. Zhou finally gives in. He kisses her, and that kiss does not feel like an impulse, but like a decision. From then on, they become a real couple, but they still face obstacles. Lu Fei, out of jealousy, even locks Ding in a bathroom. Zhou rescues her and, as a way of making it up to her, shows her something he has been keeping for a long time. An animated version of Ding's comic, Little Monster, made by him. Ding understands that Zhou has been watching her, reading her, listening to her, even when he said he was not. Then a major problem comes up with a creative contract. They want to change Ding's work to sell more. Ding refuses. Zhou supports her and reminds the director that without consent there is no deal. Su Bokong is a little disappointed, because he is more focused on money, but Ding chooses what she truly likes and Zhou admires her for that. The issue with Zhou's father is also resolved, thanks to information Su Bokong manages to get. His innocence is proven. The hospital stops being such a heavy shadow, the family breathes again, and Zhou regains the calm he had lost. In that piece, Zhou does something that seems to close a circle. He proposes to Ding with a simple ring, reminding her that when they were children that silly promise already existed, but now it is real. Ding gets emotional and accepts. Later on, Zhou travels abroad for his studies and the relationship becomes long distance. Calls, videos, birthdays through a screen, patience. Ding graduates, gives a speech, and while they are recording videos, she sees him appear on camera. Zhou comes back, congratulates her, kisses her, and shows her a box with all the memories she gave him. Letters, gifts, little details, all kept as if they were his most serious treasure. There, once again, he gives her a better ring, fulfilling what he promised. In the end, even Su Bokong, who was always around, stays at peace when he sees them together. Zhou thanks him for taking care of Ding when he could not, and Su Bokong asks him for only one thing, to protect her. Zhou promises. And so, the story closes where it began. Two people who found each other 1,000 times, lost each other out of fear, and even so, chose each other when they finally stopped running. End of the drama.